Joining me are Keith Lovett, the Zoo Director, and Paula Montgomery, the Director of Civic Engagement for the Buttonwood Park Zoological Society. So thank you to both of you for coming in.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you for having us.
Keith, let's start with you. We should really talk about your newest exhibit, the aquatic exhibit that opened recently. What's it all
Soon
about?
to open. Actually, it's going to be opening this summer. It's not quite open yet.
Not quite open yet, but I've seen some pictures of people
Yes.
there looking at it, so I'm sorry I jumped the gun, but what is it like? What is it all about?
So we had the historic aquatic center at the zoo, which was open around 2000, 2001. And it was a good building, but it was really showing its age, and we wanted to do something that was much more exciting. And it wasn't just exciting for guests coming to the zoo, but it also was very focused on environmental education programs to really have a great message and great learning opportunities for children. And also we wanted to really focus on threatened and endangered species from various places in the world. So it is a bit of a shift to what we historically had done in that building.
And the exhibit is, well, give us a little peek at it. Tell me what we're looking at, what we're seeing.
So we're going to be breaking down the building. A lot of people had seen that building, and it was mostly focused on native species. We have taken a complete shift that we're going to focus on two different areas. One side of the building is going to be focused on tropical forest. We're actually going to be representing forest of South America. And in those exhibits, we're going to have dozens and dozens of different species living together. So you're going to have these small endangered monkey species, sloths, parrots, turtles, lizards, and you even have down below these large water features that will have tropical South American fish in there as well. And all these species will be living together within each individual habitat. And if that wasn't enough, what we've done is we've created this very complex chute system that allows the animals to move from habitat to habitat to habitat. So there's a lot of flexibility in there, not only for the visitors to see different things every time they come, but also for the animals to get the most out of the exhibit as well. On the other side of the building, we're dedicating it to oceans of the world. We know how important oceans are to us here in New Bedford, so we're going to be having some Indo-Pacific ocean, some coral reef exhibits, and then on the other side, we're really going to put a large section focused to our oceans right off the coast, New Bedford, North Atlantic. So we have basically tropical forests and oceans meet in this one building.
You know, anything done like that costs money.
Absolutely.
And you've had, I think, some sponsors come up and step forward. Paula Montgomery is in charge of civic engagement, but also helping to raise money for these projects. Who stepped up and I mean, it's a pretty big gift.
Yes, absolutely, and we're very fortunate that we had a lot of individual donors step up when this project was very conceptual, and but recently we announced a very significant gift, and actually the largest gift that the Zoological Society has ever received was a $400,000 grant from the Stoico First Fed Charitable Foundation. So the building will be named Rainforest, Rivers, and Reefs to really highlight, as Keith just explained, what's happening within that building, sponsored by Stoico First Fed. So we are excited to partner with them. And I think, Jim, as you know, this is the 12th oldest zoo in the country. It's been around for a long, long time here in the community. We've all grown up with it. It has not had a major renovation in almost 20 years. This is a way for us. This is the first time that we have really gone out to the private industry and the private individuals and said, be part of this. And this capital campaign is a $25 million capital campaign, and this is the beginning of it. But gifts like this, I think, help donors who are used to stepping up. It gives them some confidence in what the zoo is doing, and I think that that's going to be critical for us as we move forward.
Keith, what other plans are in the works? I know you have a master plan.
Absolutely. And
it's what you're working off of. But master plans sometimes have a habit of staying on a shelf somewhere. So tell us about this master plan and what other plans do you have besides the aquatic center?
Sure. I mean, and we hope this is almost a living master plan, but you were absolutely right. Not only do they have a tendency to be shelved, they also have a tendency to change over time. We've been very good staying consistent to it at the beginning, obviously. In addition to rainforest, rivers, and reefs, we will have finished our expanded elephant habitat, our Asian elephant habitat for our beloved Ruth and Emily, two of the oldest elephants in captivity. So that'll be done later on this summer. And also later on this summer, we're creating this nature area, this nature play area, which is really focused on smaller children. There are study after study that shows children of today spend so little time out in nature. So we wanted to create this play area that encourages them to play in mud, build a dam in a stream, go through a worm bin. There's a lot of different things. We're actually creating activities to allow them to experience nature because in many ways they are not today. So those are the projects we're dealing with this summer. Over the next few years, we're going to have some amazing projects, everything from habitats for Siberian tigers, leopard species, some more primate species, giant anteaters. We'll have a larger North American section focused on, of course, our bison, but new habitats for our black bears, a renovated restaurant area, and there's a lot of different other species, red panda, jaguar. So there's a ton of species and a ton of guest amenities that will be going in over the next 15 years.
So besides the aquatic exhibit, what will happen? Will anything else happen this year in terms of
this year? We will have the aquatic center, which will open right around mid-July. Right by the end of August or middle of August, we'll have completed our elephant habitat, which you can see a lot of the work already. And then also in the beginning of August, we will have our new nature play area. So we have 3 major attractions open this summer alone.
A lot of debate a year or two ago about expanding the zoo's footprint. Last I heard, that was no longer part of the plan.
Yeah, and that's what, when people hear the master plan, they assume expansion, and it's not expansion. We have got very creative to maximize the space we have here at the zoo, which is actually 7 acres within the zoo. It's 10 acres if you include the parking lot, so it's a very small footprint. But basically our approach is that we're not talking about expansion. There's so much work we can do right there in the park that exists right now, right near in the zoo that exists right now, that we're not going to go outside our perimeter. So everything we're doing for the next 15 years is right there in the zoo, the current footprint.
We can't have a discussion about the zoo without getting an update on the condition of the zoo's 2 longtime star attractions, Emily and Ruth. You mentioned them just a moment ago. How are they doing? Both have seen some, well, like all older folks, they have some health issues.
Absolutely. So you have this fall, Ruth will be turning 59 years of age. Emily will be turning 53 years of age. And as I said before, that makes them 2 of the oldest Asian elephants in captivity. Life expectancy for an Asian elephant female is usually around 45 to 47 years of age. So they've outlived their expectancy. They're actually doing very well. They are geriatric animals. They are definitely older animals, so they have some good days and some bad days. We had a tough time in Ruth last summer that she got very sick, but she's recovered beautifully from that. And honestly, these girls are doing fantastic, and they're enjoying the warm weather. They're enjoying all the new vegetation out that we can cut and give them to them. So all's going well with Emily and Ruth.
You're listening to Townsquare Sunday. We're speaking with Keith Lovett, director of the New Bedford Buttonwood Park Zoo, and Paula Montgomery of the Buttonwood Park Zoological Society. How is the zoo supported? Paula, you can chime in on this. First of all, is there money in the city budget? All right, so let's talk about that.
I guess I've lived it longer, so I'll take. So the zoo is divided into 2 different entities. So you have a portion of the zoo that is overseen is part of the city of New Bedford. I happen to be a direct report to Mayor Mitchell. And then there's also the Zoological Society. The Zoological Society that is run by Paula is basically the support arm of the zoo. They raise funds, they raise awareness for the activities of the zoo. So basically all the animals, the maintenance, the physical facilities, they mostly fall under the city side, but all the programmatic stuff, they fall on the society side.
Paula, do you have a goal to raise money this year? I know that the first Fed gift obviously is the largest perhaps you've ever received in terms of private donation, but is there a goal, and how are we doing with that?
Well, there's two goals essentially when you think at it, because we do have a capital campaign that we are officially in, and then of course we have our operations for the Zoological Society, and actually we're doing really, really well. We just had our 3rd Red, White, and Brew in collaboration with Townsquare Media and Fund 107, which did really well. We sold out. 1,000 people were at the zoo enjoying their time there. This coming August, we've got, this month, we've got a golf tournament that supports the operations, the programming, all of that. In August, we have our Feast in the Wild. In October, we do our Howl event. So overall, the zoo is doing very well in terms of operational fundraising, which, as Keith mentioned, is so critical because it's the Zoological Society that really helps to develop or fund the educational programming that families and schools in the community get to enjoy. So from a fundraising standpoint, we're doing well. Does that mean that we don't need continued support? No. Obviously, we're always looking for businesses to engage with us and to support the work of the zoo because not only are we one of the oldest institutions in the area, we are a tremendous asset from an educational standpoint. And I think that this master plan even solidifies that even greater, which is really exciting. So.
And I would chime in even more. We're also one of the most affordable attractions in all of South Coast. So in order to stay affordable for all of the community, obviously fundraising the support of the community helps to offset that. So we're very proud of how affordable we are, but we do need to raise money to keep it affordable for the entire community.
And so I run a business, and I'm looking at all the things I can give money to. Mm-hmm. Why should I give money to the Buttonwood Park Zoo?
Well, I think there's a couple different things, and there's so many great charities out there, and there's a lot of people who have different passions. But if your passion is wildlife, if your passion is nature, if your passion is the natural world, the zoo is such a connection. We live more and more in an urban environment. Children don't have exposure. Even adults don't have exposure to a natural world. In many ways, we are creating this natural world right here in New Bedford that's accessible to children of the North End, children of the South End. It's just really how many of these children in the community connect with nature, and we think that's so important. And we've changed the mission. We are so focused on threatened and endangered species. Some of these tiger species, some of these jaguar species could go extinct in our lifetime, and we're working not only at the zoo, but we're also working out in the wild to save these species. So if you are a natural person, if you are a person who loves wildlife, the zoo is the obvious connection.
And, for the city of this size, really, to have a zoo and to fund it in some way, to fund have an appropriation for the zoo. I mean, I have to tell you, it's almost mind-boggling. I don't know that many cities, especially now, would say, we got to help the zoo, we got to fund the zoo, we got to do what we can. Yeah, they're fundraising, but we got to do what we can to help the zoo. That's really remarkable, isn't it?
And I think it's an excellent point. I've been to zoos all over the country, all over the world, and truthfully, you're not going to typically see a high-quality zoo like the Buttonwood Park Zoo in a demographic area like New Bedford, based on population, based on affluence, what have you. You're just typically not going to see it. Obviously, the zoo started back when the whaling community was here, and this is how it started. But sometimes I think people don't understand that to have this asset in your city, to live in a city as the size of New Bedford and have this high-quality institution is such an amazing thing because, truthfully, you won't see it. Typically, you have to go to a province, you have to go to Boston, you have to go to Manhattan to get these types of institutions. To have it here in New Bedford is such an asset for the community.
Paula, are folks, when you, I don't know how you do this, whether it's cold calls or whatever you do to get money donated to the zoo, people generally receptive? Return your calls?
Yeah, I think that the whole reputation of the zoo has changed drastically in the last couple of years, and a lot of that is to Keith, the work that he has done, the quality staff that he has brought in, as well as the training that he's now offering to some of the team there. I think the reputation of the zoo has changed, and I think people are starting to see that. So I think that there's a lot more interest in what's happening. We have been out there more trying to tell our story in a different way, and I think that that's also new for the zoo. So I think through a lot of those different channels that we are now trying to activate on a much more regular basis, people are paying more attention, which is making a difference in their interest and their willingness to support the institution. Yes.
The next fundraising event, what is it?
June 26th. It is our it's a zoo out there golf tournament, and it's at Bay Club in Marion.
How can folks get involved?
bpzoo.org, everything that you want to know in terms of doing, whether it's our zoo crew is coming up this summer, which is amazing. We have 6 weeks of basically summer camp, and we offer different weeks for different age groups. So every age from 4 to 12. There are weeks that have different themes, so your child, depending on their age, could technically spend 3 weeks at the zoo doing all kinds of amazing things. That's on our website. Of course, our daily educational opportunities, encounters, and all of that. So our website is a pretty great resource for the community.
Yeah, and I would say that, there's a menu of activities that happen at the zoo for every budget that is out there. Some of them are very, very affordable. Something like a golf tournament is going to be a little bit more expensive just by the nature of it, but there is such a plethora of activities that basically can accommodate the entire community. We even have a couple of free days during the summer, what we're very proud of.
Buttonwood Park Zoo, a wonderful attraction, and it really is a plus for the city of New Bedford. Thanks to Keith Lovett, the zoo director, and also Paula Montgomery, who is with the Buttonwood Park Zoo Zoological Society. Thank you both for coming in. Have a great summer, great tourist season, and I'm sure we'll talk to you again.
Thanks, Jim. I hope we see you there.
Yes, I
That'd
think you will.